At this time of year, we're approaching the one-year anniversary of the Majestic Hotel fire, an incident that is of great importance to both the citizens and city government of the City of Hot Springs. And with me today is Assistant City Manager Lance Spicer. Welcome, Lance.
Good morning, Terry. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. You have overseen the whole process since a year ago when the Majestic burned down. That was certainly a milestone for our city, and it's been at the forefront of city government's actions ever since. Can you start off by giving us an overview of the Majestic Hotel? Because many people didn't realize what a broad structure it was and how many different buildings that it entailed.
Yes. The Majestic Hotel, obviously the yellow brick portion, which is the oldest portion from the 1880s, did catch fire and burn on February 27th of 2014. But the Majestic complex itself is made up of approximately 3 separate buildings that cover a little over just right at 5 acres there at the intersection of Central Avenue and Park Avenue. So it's quite a large building complex within itself. But the yellow brick portion that did catch fire, it was demolished in the firefighting actions to bring the fire to its end. However, to date, the rubble still stands almost 1 year later for the yellow brick portion.
Now, in addition to the yellow brick portion, there are other definable portions of the Majestic Hotel. What are those?
There is the red brick section, which is obviously still standing, and the Lanai Tower, which is also one of the 2 remaining standing structures. And each one of those range in age from 50 to 70 years. So overall, the complex itself is one of the older hotels in downtown Hot Springs.
Now, ownership of the Majestic Hotel has varied over the years. Who is the current owner, and what's the history there?
The current owner is Mr. Gary Hassenflue of Parker Residences there in Kansas City, Missouri. He has been the owner since 2012. Prior to that, Monty Scott of Southwest Hotels owned the Majestic Hotel, which was closed in 2006 and essentially has never reopened as a hotel since 2006.
Let's touch on the fire itself for a moment. It was one of the biggest fires that downtown has ever seen, right? Can you detail some of the scope of the fire and the fire department's involvement?
Absolutely. The fire itself started Thursday evening on the 27th. I believe the call actually went out approximately 5 p.m. There were over 7 volunteer and professional fire engine companies there. Obviously, the City of Hot Springs Fire Department was the lead agency. The fire itself was more of a defensive posture just to attempt to keep the fire from spreading. However, that was accomplished by pouring approximately 500,000 gallons of water per hour. So it's a tremendous amount of water to be pouring to a building in an effort to contain that fire within the yellow brick structure.
And the fire department was able to contain the fire, or history may be very different today for the downtown area.
Absolutely. The fire department, all the responding companies did an amazing job for that day and also the subsequent days as they fought the fire for 3-4 days as well.
And one of the reasons we're doing this segment is that this is a complicated issue that involves a lot of different facets and different agencies that the City of Hot Springs has been working closely with ever since the fire. Let's go a little bit into the environmental findings since the fire.
Absolutely. The Majestic yellow brick section is involved in a voluntary cleanup action with the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality. So essentially, they have worked with the property owner, which is Mr. Hassenflue, to come up with a cleanup plan. And one of the key dates that citizens should be mindful of is March 5th is essentially Mr. Hassenflue's deadline to have the rubble section, so that's the yellow brick, completely cleaned up. So we've got that coming in the next few weeks as well.
I see. Our stormwater department was involved also in environmental findings?
Yes, not only do we test the stormwater runoff from the firefighting actions that were taking place, we also monitored the air around the site for 4 to 5 days. All the findings within that time found no significant findings of environmental impact to the citizens and the visitors to Hot Springs.
Well, that was certainly a positive outcome there. As far as the city board, there have been some formal actions taken regarding the owner since the fire?
Yes.
And before the fire
absolutely.
as well.
We have issued approximately 35 citations with the building owner, Mr. Hassenflug. He did plead guilty to those in mid-2014. Also, one of the actions that our board has taken with the yellow brick section, it was formally condemned as a nuisance and an unsafe structure March 18th of 2014. And we also look to condemn the two standing structures in early March of 2015.
Yes, the red brick and the lanai tower.
Absolutely.
I see. And then finally, court actions against Mr. Hassenflug have also been extensive.
Yes, between our chief building official, our fire marshal, the actions brought against Mr. Hassenflug have been quite extensive. The correspondence and communication with the property owner and his attorney have been quite lengthy, and we obviously like to bring this whole saga to a conclusion, and we definitely are looking forward to that in 2015.
Are there any closing comments that you want to make? Again, a subject of great importance to everyone in Hot Springs.
Yes, I think the Majestic Hotel obviously was a tragic event. However, it did shed some light on many of the great things that are going on, not only in the downtown, but the city of Hot Springs overall. And as we move into 2015, we definitely look forward to bringing this entire event to a conclusion. I think the citizens of Hot Springs will be very pleased with some of the outcomes that will be coming in 2015.
And as everyone's aware, it certainly has been a catalyst for a lot of positive growth and movement downtown as well.
Absolutely. It was definitely a call to action for our citizens, and they've definitely answered the call. So we're very appreciative. And as I said, we look forward to many great beginnings there in 2015.
Well, Lance, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate the update on the Majestic Hotel and the situation there. And next week, we'll bring you more city news.